Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. For almost a century, Farm Bureau has been a friend of the farm for all Virginians. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Here's what's coming up on this week's show. Virginia's culinary superstars show off their skills at the state fair. Chef Tammy shares her recipe for a fall favorite, beef chili. And we head to beautiful Page County for this month's County Agricultural Closeup.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from the State Fair of Virginia in Caroline County, where chefs and restaurateurs will show off their creations at Taste of Virginia. Come check it out. Some of the best chefs in the business were on hand at the State Fair of Virginia, showing off their latest concoctions and raising money for good causes. The event, held in stately Meadow Hall at the Meadow Event Park during the State Fair of Virginia, featured chefs who have worked with some of the best-known chefs in the world. Steve Glenn, culinary director for Underground Kitchen in Richmond, was a finalist on Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen show. Glenn tried something adventurous for Taste of Virginia.
Today we did a jerk turkey neck on top of a fried rice and cabbage, just because I feel like the state fair requires something a little bit country, but also elevated at the same time. So I decided to go this route just because it's something a little weird, a little off the cuff, but still delicious, super rich at the same time.
Tanya Cawthon has also been under the Klieg lights of television as a winning contestant on the Food Network's Chopped program in 2017.
We have a grass-fed Wagyu haunch of beef that we slow roasted, and we've paired it with a sunshine potato salad and a pepper compote. Beef and potato is a pretty classic combination, and not really knowing what my crowd was going to be, it would be a pretty safe crowd pleaser. And the fun thing is everything on the plate is from a local farm except for my celery, my parsley. So part of it was trying to completely represent kind of the Taste of Virginia.
Real Virginia's own celebrity chef Tammy Brawley also returned to the event for a second year.
We have got cold cucumber soup, and it has goat cheese in it, and buttermilk, and cilantro, and some lime juice, and some white pepper. Blended up, and then serve it chilled, and then we've got grilled bread. We've got baguettes from the Flower Garden Bakery. Our goat cheese came from Rathborne Farms, and our buttermilk came from Richland Dairies.
Speaking of Richland Dairy, Coley Drinkwater was on hand serving some of Richland's famous ice cream.
We have strawberry ice cream, chocolate fudge brownie ice cream, pumpkin praline cheesecake, which is one of our seasonal ice creams, vanilla, it's still the #1 seller, salty caramel, and then because eggnog season is here, we have samples of eggnog as well.
Taste of Virginia began last year at the State Fair of Virginia and raised $20,000 that went to 3 ag-related organizations: Virginia Ag in the Classroom, Foundation for Agriculture, Innovation, and Rural Sustainability, and the State Fair Scholarship Fund.
This was my brainchild last year. We basically reached out to celebrity chefs and connected them with farmers and producers across Virginia. I just thought it was a great idea, an opportunity to not only showcase Virginia's finest products, but to utilize the chefs that have been on network shows to highlight what the end product could be for the products that the farmers are producing. We wanted to take advantage of the state fair as a great opportunity to bring people in. This particular facility is a great opportunity for those who don't normally get to come in and see the mansion. We looked at it as a foodie opportunity, a historic opportunity for those history buffs to come in and check out the mansion. While supporting agriculture literacy is important to the chefs, Taste of Virginia is one of many ways they are giving back to their communities.
We have 2 sides of the business. We have our nonprofit where we feed daycare centers, senior centers, pretty much anybody who needs food around the city. And then we have our for-profit where we do these super high-end 6-course dinners with wine pairings, beautiful florals, and we do those About twice a month.
At this year's Taste of Virginia, patrons could visit a total of 19 stations where chefs, winemakers, and others represented Virginia agriculture, from the northern neck to south side to points west, offering everything from apple pie to pimento cheese to oysters.
So these are all our top shelf oysters. They're grown in floating cages, a system called Flip Farm off of Windmill Point. So if you're going out on the river, you can see our cages. They're floating on the surface, and that's what gives them a beautiful deep cup and a real strong shell.
The diversity of offerings at Taste of Virginia helped drive home the point that the Commonwealth is home to a host of delicious and varied cuisines.
Happy to be here. This is a great event, and if you've never come out and tried it, put it on your to-do list for next year's State Fair.
In Caroline County, Virginia, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
Some Virginia farmers have been leaders in making direct connections from the farm to your dinner table, especially in restaurants. Chefs and growers create their own supply chains to ensure that diners have the freshest possible fruits, vegetables, and meats straight from the farm. It can be more challenging than buying from a commercial restaurant supplier, but customers give their dishes rave reviews. If you want to make your own farm-to-table connection, search for a local farmers market or community-supported agriculture operation. You can start your search at websites like virginiagrown.com.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about edible flowers and herbs from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
Farming is a rewarding way of life, but it can also be full of challenges. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the AgriStress helpline at 833-897-2473. It offers 24/7 access to professionals who can support someone in need and help find mental health services in your community. Please make the call, because healthy farms depend on healthy farm families. That's 833-897-2474.
Flowers aren't just pretty to look at, they can be food for the soul and the stomach. Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extensions explains from the ground up.
Well, hello and welcome. Today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm, and we're talking about edible flowers and herbs. I'm here with Dr. Teresa Nartea. Dr. Nartea, you have got a wonderful planting here for research and demonstration. But tell me, how did this start? What was the idea behind all this?
The inspiration for it was actually, I work a lot with cut flower growers across the state, and we actually have a cut flower discussion group. And they're always looking for brand new ideas for the market season. And so I came up with this theme, flowers are food for the soul and tummy. And so that is the theme of this garden.
I love it. So it's for farmers, but also for home gardeners. They can plant some of these things.
Absolutely. I would encourage it so much, because we just don't, people just don't think about flowers, and that you just look at the beauty of it. But they can actually be used in teas, beauty care, aromatherapy, home decor, spice mixes and dips. You can use the things that you're growing, flowers and herbs, but herbs are actually like flowers too, because they have little flowers when they bloom. And when you mix herbs, which have a beautiful scent, and then the flowers together, you actually have an incredible bouquet that really cheers somebody up who's down.
That makes sense. And as I look at the table you've got over here, as we walk over here, I see some really beautiful flowers. I see zinnias and sunflowers and celosia. And you've got some other things here too, don't
Absolutely do. I don't know if you ever heard of this. It actually has a flower, but it's called stevia. And this variety is called candy, and it's very sweet. And if you try it...
Just eat it?
Yeah, take a little nibble.
Oh, that's very sweet.
I know,
wow.
It's just like sugar, but if you're diabetic or something, you could just nibble on these little stevia leaves when you get a little craving, and you're gonna push that little craving away, and it won't hurt you.
Oh, that's wonderful. You just eat it or put it in water?
Well, actually, a funny idea is I actually have brought some water here, but you can stick it in your water to add to a tea. But there's a really lovely tea. It's called lemon verbena. I want you to just go ahead and try a leaf right here. And then kind of break it. You can smell it, and then even just take a smell.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. Well,
Lemony.
Exactly. And the French actually use this lemon verbena for their perfumes and also for what's called a tisane. A tisane is what we just made. You added the sweetener from the stevia, and now you put in that little leaf, and you've got a lemon verbena tisane. And if you let that just kind of stay in the water for maybe 2-3 minutes, it's going to be a flavorful concoction for you to drink, and you know, right from your home garden.
That's wonderful. Well, I think this is a great tip for home gardeners. I think many of these things, and I'm going to walk through in a few minutes and look at them, but these are great.
Oh, it smells like lemon, and it smells so good in a cup.
Well, Dr. Nartea did a great job of showing us the things that you're growing here, and I know you've got a great crew of faculty and staff that work with you here at VSU that are researching and also taking care of things. And one of those is Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, thanks for being here today. I know you're part of the I know you're part of the research staff here, and I know Teresa talked about the beauty and the taste of some of these, but there might be some health benefits also with some of them. And I know you've got an example right here.
Yes. Actually, we work in the lab just doing food science and human nutrition, and our dean, Dr. Corley, bring up a very, very beautiful mind. Foods are medicine.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful.
So we build up the bridge between the foods and the functional food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just bring some material from the farm, especially where we grow here in our random farm.
Right.
And this is the ginger we grow.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Look at this, especially the baby ginger, because we have a lot of research project going on the baby ginger. The baby ginger has the potential to fight obesity.
Oh.
Yeah, obesity is like a worldwide big problem. It was obese people was raised up like tripled during the past several decades. So we are trying to find a way. We use food to combating the obesity. So we have some lab research. We can have the good benefit from the polyphenolic compound from the ginger, especially the baby ginger. Baby ginger is, we call the baby ginger because we harvest at the early stage, very, very young ginger. It has more antioxidant, less fiber, and more beneficial compounds. And based on our research, you can easily to tell baby ginger has the potential to lower the triglyceride, increase the glucose uptake, then correct the obesity. So normally, it's really hard to eat a lot of ginger because it's a kind of spicy, right? We try to find a way to make like a sushi ginger, ginger drink or something else. And we try to, people knows that eat baby ginger every day, fight obesity away.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I think that's a great tip right here. And that's we all think about the health benefits of other things, but when we think about food as medicine, I love that notion. So wonderful. So I'm glad to see you've got flowers here, everybody. You've got herbs that you're working on from a research standpoint. Really great job to the whole group here. Thank you all for the work that you're doing out there on these herbs and spices and things.
Thank you.
Well, if you want to find out more about edible flowers or herbs, contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins, and we'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley. Coming up on Heart of the Home, beef chili over rice. We hope you'll stay with us.
Every spring and fall, Virginia farmers and other motorists nearly collide on rural roads. Sometimes these collisions can be dangerous or even fatal when a car traveling 55 miles an hour suddenly meets much slower moving farm equipment. The odds of a collision shoot up. Farm equipment operators are required to display a slow-moving vehicle emblem when they're on a public road. When you see that, slow down. Give them plenty of space to do their job. This message brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation Safety Advisory Committee.
On a cold fall day, beef chili is a great way to warm up. Chef Tammy shows us how she makes it from the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Today we are going to work on a delicious beef chili sans beans. There's those that are in the bean camp and there are those that are not in the bean camp. I love this recipe. We're going to serve this over a bed of rice today. It's got some delicious spices, but what we're starting out with is your basic stewed beef that we've cut down into bite-sized pieces. We're going to put that into a pot of water and we're going to let that boil for about anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes. Keep in mind that the bigger you have something, the longer it takes to cook. So you really would want to cut this down into bite-sized pieces and then it'll actually take less time to cook. So I've got a pot of water already over here and I'm simply going to add the beef to it. And we're going to let that come to a boil. And it'll be ready for the spices and the rest of the chili recipe in about 30 minutes or so. All right, so our beef boiled for about 30 minutes or so, and it became somewhat tender. And now we've drained our beef and we're going to add a little olive oil to our pan. Now, one of the most important things about cooking, I love to impart with people, is that you never want to put a product into a cold fat. So we want to make sure that this is nice and hot before we saute our beef cubes. But also, in the meantime, we're going to put together some delicious spices here. It's about 6 different spices, believe it or not. We've got about a ½ cup of chili powder. We've got a ¼ cup of cumin. And then we have a tablespoon pretty much each of onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, some paprika, and believe it or not, some cinnamon. Love, love, love this recipe. You can put this in a bowl and dredge it with your hands if you want, but I find in the kitchen one of my favorite tools is a Ziploc bag. We're going to take our beef that we've boiled, have it in a bowl, we're going to add it to the Ziploc bag. You can certainly dredge this in a bowl if you choose, but I find the Ziploc bag gives me a better coverage. So we're just going to add the beef to that. While I'm doing that, I'm also warming the oil in the pan to saute the beef. We're now going to seal that. All right, we're just going to shake that up. Much better coverage doing it like this than putting it in a bowl and trying to dredge it yourselves. All right, so our oil is nice and warm. We're going to dump the beef right in there with those spices. All right, just going to kind of move that around. And I have my heat on roughly about a medium high. You know, your burner at home might be quite different than mine is here. You'll know how to judge that. All right, now from there we're going to add about a cup and a half of beef stock. We're going to add a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. You can do whole tomatoes, that's totally fine. If you've put up tomatoes from your own garden, that's even better. The tomatoes will eventually break down. We're going to stir that. And then we're going to let that simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. So we have let our chili simmer with the tomatoes there for about 15 minutes or so. Now we're going to make kind of a slurry, and we're using a ¼ cup flour and about 4 tablespoons of oil. This is just going to thicken it. And then we're going to serve it over top of a bowl of rice. I'm just going to whisk this together. And I'll put it in our chili. I'll take out my big spoon and just get that slurry mixed in there. You can see how thick this is. Absolutely delicious. Not only is it good over rice, but I also love it left over the next day. I'll roll it up in a burrito, make a delicious lunch the next day. And the smell of these spices, gosh darn. You know, you would think with technology today we would already have smell-o-vision. I wish we did. All right, so now we're going to put some rice in a bowl. Top that with the chili. Now, this would be delicious with cornbread, pita chips, really whatever you wanted to put in it. And then we're just going to hit it with a little bit of cilantro at the end, some nice pretty green. All right, and there you have it, beef chili over a bed of rice. I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Cattle and calves are the third largest sector of Virginia's farm economy, generating more than $695 million in sales in 2022. Most Virginia beef cattle are raised on smaller farms, especially in the western mountains of the Old Dominion, where grassy pastures offer easy feeding opportunities. Many Virginia cattlemen also hold jobs off the farm or raise other commodities like poultry, hay, or row crops. Most Virginia beef cattle are raised from birth to a year old and then sold out of state for further feeding and processing.
The mountains of Virginia are a glorious place to visit any time of the year, but especially during the fall. In this week's County Agricultural Close-Up, Elijah Griles introduces us to the farmers of Page County in the Shenandoah Valley.
From the tops of the Blue Ridge Mountains to the depths of Luray Caverns, Page County offers some of the Shenandoah Valley's most stunning vistas. Agriculture runs deep here, with farms cultivating everything from plentiful poultry to festive Christmas trees.
Page County, I think based on our most current ag census, is maybe ranked 5th in total agriculture market products. And the majority of that value is derived from poultry production, specifically broilers or meat chickens. That's probably maybe one of the biggest things that we're known for in terms of agriculture.
Jerry Turner and his son operate a poultry and cattle farm on the eastern side of Page County. They have been raising meat chickens since 1979.
We raise broilers. They come as baby chicks, and we keep them for approximately 9 weeks. And the target weight when they leave here is somewhere around 9.5 or 9.75 pounds. And from here they go straight to the processing plant, and in a couple of days they're in somebody's table.
In addition to poultry, Jerry Turner sells feeder cattle, which are 500 to 600 pound calves sold within a few months of weaning. Page County is also home to another cattle production system.
Page County is kind of unique in that measure. There are people that finish cattle. There's about 5 or 6 other farms in our area, which is pretty unique because that's not found elsewhere in the state for such a small area.
John Ruffner and his son Cody raise cattle near the county's Stanley community. Instead of selling their cattle as feeder calves, they fatten them in a process called finishing.
As the steer or the heifer grows, you continue to increase the amount of grain that they receive. When our cattle leave here, they weigh anywhere between 1,400 and probably 1,800 pounds. Some of them get pretty large. The majority of them are probably in the 1,500 to 1,700 pound category, and they are sent to slaughterhouses either in Pennsylvania or there's one in Baltimore, Maryland, and then be shipped off to stores or restaurants.
Before these cattle are fed grain, though, they enjoy the luscious pastures of the Page Valley. Julian Price and his family have extended their grazing season to save money and improve the health of their land.
The grazing that we used to do years ago was pretty much the cattle run the whole place all year long. When the grass was gone, we'd start feeding hay, and we do a lot more pasture rotation now, gradually working more that way. Worked with Bobby a lot and Elizabeth on that, the extension agents.
When we rotationally graze, we have thicker sod, and that reduces runoff off of this land. And more of the water is in the ground for the grass to use. But that reduced runoff is also really good for the environment. If we extend the grazing season and we bale less hay, it requires less fertilizer use on the whole, and then that in and of itself is better for the environment.
According to the latest Census of Agriculture, there are 492 farms in Page County, covering 57,321 acres. The market value of all agricultural products is $204.8 million. Livestock and poultry earn the most, with $194.9 million. Of that, poultry and eggs deliver $185.6 million, and cattle bring in $7.6 million. Crops account for $9.9 million. Alongside agriculture, 37% of the county is part of Shenandoah National Park. A scenic sunset from the park's Skyline Drive offers travelers from around the world the opportunity to take in Page County's beauty. In the valley below, Danny Turner and his family are rolling up their sleeves to harvest rolls of sod that will cover lawns throughout the region.
Right now is when we usually seed all of our fields in the 1st of September, and this sod we're cutting now is a year old, and it usually takes close to a year old to be able to cut it, for it to get roots to be mature enough to cut. Most of the sod we cut, we deliver it and install it.
While sod keeps nearby front yards green, brothers David and John Thomas are making sure that local living rooms are bright for the upcoming holiday season.
Most of the folks, they go out there, cut their own tree themselves. We've got some sleds. They'll put the tree on the sled. They might even bring the kids in on the sled. And they enjoy doing it themselves.
Demand for Christmas trees in recent years has outpaced supply statewide, and each tree is a years-long investment.
There'll be a short supply for a while because you're realistically looking at least 8 years to get a 7 to 8 foot tree.
Thomas says that customers come from nearby Northern Virginia or as far as Virginia Beach to cut their own tree.
I love watching things grow and contributing to their growth and making them into a beautiful tree. I think even more than that, when the families come out here and it's a good time of year. You know, it's Christmas time.
The Thomas's farm will open for visitors to choose their tree the day after Thanksgiving. Locals and visitors alike are treated to a daily dose of breathtaking scenery in every direction. Whether it's protein on a plate, green grass in the yard, or a twinkling Christmas tree, Page County farmers are proud of the abundance they have to offer. Reporting from Page County, Virginia, I'm Elijah Griles.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.